That's right. So we're going to stay in the FX space for this demo. We're going to move into post-trade world, and we're going to show you smart desktops in action, both on the buy side and on the sell side, and with Symphony as that connection between the two. So first of all, what's smart about these desktops? Well, they use a protocol called FDC3 to communicate amongst themselves, so passing data and context across the desktop to allow the applications to talk to each other. It's pretty powerful stuff. And now in this demo, and the guys have brought the screens up behind us, which is great, we're actually going to have 5 applications talking to each other. We're going to have Finsemble managing the windows. We've got ChartIQ. We've got an application called Tradefeedr. We've got my firm's blotter, and we've got Symphony. So there's going to be a lot going on. I know it's been a long day, but you're going to have to bear with us. We will help you through this, but it is pretty cool. So let's get going.
OK, so just for the context of this demo, so for the roles, I am still playing the sell side. And Rob, well, there hasn't been much character development. He's still my high maintenance, albeit lovable, it's OK, buy-side client. And just so we can follow along, so behind me, so to your left, this is the screen that I'll see every morning when I log into my computer at the bank. So this is the sell side. And then to your right, behind Rob, that'll be the screen that he sees when he logs in the morning.
So Mesa said earlier, everyone has a Rob in their life. I like to think I'm the best Rob there is. So I'm really important in my firm. What my job in the firm is to make money. And you've all heard the phrase that time is money, so I want to save time where I can. So I have this smart desktop. Actually, I got it about a couple of weeks ago, and I love it. It is awesome. And let me show you why it's awesome. So I'm a big trader in the FX market. I was trading sterling dollars yesterday. Rich, if you could just put the blotter up and bring up my sterling dollar trades for me. Everyone should have a Rich, by the way. He's great. So what we're going to do is, there's one of these trades, yeah, I think it's the third one. If you just click on that ChartIQ, boom. So this chart that has just come up, that looks kind of, wow, it's just a chart that just came up. My old desktop, what I would have had to do there, I would have had a look at that order, then I would have loaded the chart, then I'd have to make the security load, then maybe check I got the right time frame, and then make sure the fills came through properly. All of that in one click. Awesome, love it. So what can I do with this now? Rich, if you just drill into this, I'd just like to check on Mesa's performance, because I like to keep her on her toes. So what we've got here behind me, I don't know if you can see it there, the little purple circles are the fills of the algos that her bank has provided to me, and I can see there's some little red bars there which show that she was filling me slightly off the market. So obviously I want to find out a little bit more about that, so maybe I can look into something else I've got on my desktop. So you can see another little icon up there, the TF, for Tradefeedr. So Tradefeedr is a transaction cost analysis tool. So it takes data from about 16 different dealers and about 8 different trading platforms and provides performance analysis. So this very colorful chart here is showing me how the algos I've traded with Mesa have performed in the past. The yellow dot there is showing me that yesterday's algo actually ran about 3 basis points better than average. So actually, the algo ran pretty well. But I did have some fills that were slightly away from the mid. So I want to check what Mesa thinks, keep her on her toes, like I said. And so, Rich, if you wouldn't mind, can we just share this chart over to Symphony? So you can see Rich has just sent as a chat, again, one click, love it, saves me time. And then maybe just ask that question for us. So we're just going to ask the question to Mesa, and then we'll see if she can come back to me and tell me what was going on. There we go.
OK, wonderful. So Rob has just come through on Symphony.
Any second now.
There we go. So as Rob was mentioning, he's asking about the sterling dollar orders. So what I'm going to do is taking that data, that message that Rob sent in the Symphony chat, is click on the blue view chart icon. So this, in turn, is going to open my own internal charting application so that I can dig a bit deeper into the data, investigate what's going on in an interactive way. So in this example, I am also using ChartIQ. But in reality, this could be any FDC3-enabled application that you're familiar with, that you use every day, that you have on your desks. So you'll also notice that from my ChartIQ application, from my internal charting application, I'm able to then send that data, so around that same currency pair question, straight to my bank's internal blotter, which will allow me to filter the blotter at my bank for all the closed trades that I have in that currency pair. So that'll allow me to see what's going on and get back to Rob's query. Before I do so, however, there's one thing I want to point out. So at the very top right of my Symphony chat with Rob, you'll notice a purple Microsoft Teams button. Now, thanks to this Microsoft Teams integration, with the click of a button, I'm able to launch a Microsoft Teams voice, video, or screen share meeting with any of my Symphony contacts. So let's say I want to hop on a quick voice and video call with Rob to walk through my findings in more depth or live. Or let's say I need to quickly ring my whole team to ask them if they can hop on or take a look at the chart as well. I can do all of that with the click of a button. And as you'll remember, I know Mike mentioned this at the start of the conference, we had announced our integration with Zoom at our New York Innovate conference. And now we're very pleased to say that our integration with Microsoft Teams is live. So through this, what we want is to give you the flexibility to integrate Symphony with your video conferencing platform and system of choice. But now, I know that Rob is very busy. I'm not going to ping him again in the middle of the conference. We've already made that mistake. So I'm just going to send him a good old Symphony message. Those never get old with my findings. So I'll let him know that the algo did indeed perform well. I'll reassure him, and that we were just a few basis points off mid. There you go, Rob.
Good stuff. All right, so Mesa's on her game. She actually
think that's kept you happy?
Yeah, well, let's see. I'm not quite done. Now, I know that Mesa's got a smart desktop, so I'm going to ask her another question and see if she can figure this one out. So, Mesa, can you give me some information about euro-dollar performance? I'd like to know how your bank's been doing.
Yeah, there's never just one question from Rob. I should have known.
All right, thanks, Rich.
OK, great. So Rob has come through again. This time he's asking about the euro-dollar orders. So as I did before, I'm going to use that same data in the message. I'm going to hover over the ticker in Rob's message, and this time send that data straight to my bank's internal blotter. So I can go straight as well from Symphony to the blotter. And this will allow me, again, to see what's going on. So as Rob was mentioning earlier, we're really highlighting here the power of interoperability in that taking data from one application, I'm able to open and launch another application without needing to sign in again, and with that application being already configured or filtered according to the data that it was launched from. So saving me a lot of time. And as Rob was pointing to earlier, we have the TF Tradefeedr symbol next to each closed trade. So I'm just going to click on one of those to open up the Tradefeedr report in that same way. So this Tradefeedr report will allow me to see all the algos that my bank provides, so I can evaluate how they've performed. And I think this is going to be key to answering Rob's question and should keep him at bay. So rather than copy-pasting this data or taking a screenshot of it and then manually sending it over, I'm simply going to click on the share button that's at the top of my Tradefeedr report, go back into Symphony, where I can send Rob a personalized Symphony message. It'll contain the Tradefeedr report and attachments, and I can provide additional color, ask him how he's doing, etc. So there you go. You have it back in Symphony.
There it is. Not bad. 2 minutes to respond, Mesa. I think that's probably acceptable. Some of my dealers take more like 2 hours, sometimes 2 days. So I think that smart desktop is really doing the job. OK. So I think we're done.
Not quite.
Oh.
Now that my client is finally happy, there's one thing I'd love to know of him. So I'd like to know how my bank stacks up against the competition. And so for that, I'm going to see if Rob can send me some peer analysis. In fact, I'm going to see if he can send that peer analysis to my whole FX analytics team. And at my bank, we've set up a Symphony group just for this sort of thing, just so that Rob has a channel to reach my team independently of who's on call or who's covering that account, given that there is a lot of change internally at the bank.
All right, so you can see the message there asking for that report. So Rich, if you wouldn't mind sending that over to the group that Mesa asked. And while you do that, I'll just explain a bit more about what groups are. So Symphony Groups was released at the end of last year. It's very similar to how email distribution lists work, except it has the power of the Symphony instant chat and the Symphony directory behind it. So it's used to really be able to communicate with a group without really knowing whether an individual is active or not. So really powerful. We can use this both in middle office, back office, as well as the front office, which we're showing you here.
Awesome.
So I think
OK, so looks like the peer analysis has come through. And again, this is to my whole FX analytics team without Rob knowing who's on the team or who's going to respond. And it looks like we've ranked second out of the 8 peer banks.
Pretty good.
Not bad. OK, so if we look on my group view, if I go into the membership list of that group, given that this group was created by my bank, this is my team, I can see on an individualized level who are all the members in this group. Just to ensure that my team remain aligned, I can see who's typing in the chat, I can see who's responding to Rob, so that we ensure continuous client coverage.
And then on my screen, you can see that I don't really get to see any of that detail. And when we go to the chat, I just see the actual group responding to me. So it's completely anonymous to me. So as we said, really helpful feature. OK, so that brings us to the end of the live demo. Just to recap what we've just seen. We've just seen smart desktops in action. We saw them on the buy side. We've seen them on the sell side. We've seen Symphony as that connection point between the two. We also talked about the Microsoft Teams integration that's now live and how you can use groups really to help with your workflow. So.
And as ever, a big thank you to our partners Tradefeedr and Cosaic, who helped us build out this demo.